Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Today we have two stories for you, starting with one about a truck driver. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. And our first story. I'm not doing my paperwork correctly? Enjoy your loss of profits for the last week. I'll be OP, my boss will be DH, short for D-head. And the other driver involved will be BD for bad driver. Some context. I work as an over-the-road truck driver for a fairly large company. It's not the most glamorous job, but it's helping me pay my bills and get through college with no loans. This particular company has lots of paperwork that needs filled out, and most of it on carbon copy paper. Most of the drivers lay our papers on top of each other and fill out the repetitive spots so we don't spend 30 to 40 minutes just writing down our names or truck numbers. This has been the norm for years. Recently, we got a new truck driver in BD, and he's one of those guys that, if he suffers, he makes sure everyone else does too. It's annoying, but most days he doesn't bother most of us. Cue the events that led to my malicious compliance. At the beginning of last week, I was discussing something with a fellow driver when BD walks in. He immediately began complaining that I had stolen a run from him last week, we run on seniority, and that he was going to complain to the boss. I asked him if he realized that he only recently started working here, and I've been here for the better part of 3 years. BD: Yeah, I know that. Why? OP: Because we run on seniority, and I can't steal a run from you. I'm a man in motion. This is a term used when one of us is coming from one terminal to another and still has time to do another run. BD: I don't care if you were a man in motion. I had things to do that day, and because you took an extra run, I had to sit home and cancel my plans and wait on my work call. Keep in mind, I'm filling out my paperwork as we argue. OP: In my first 2 years, I had the same situation many times. I just dealt with it and got over it. What makes you any better than the rest of us? Well, I'm better than you because I fill out my paperwork right. I also follow the rules. So do I. My paperwork is actually more complete than yours most days. You don't even put in the mileage or trailer numbers on your inspection forms. I know this because we share trucks between drivers, and his paperwork is almost never complete. Whatever, you're going to be sorry that you screwed me out of my run. At this point, I tell him to chill out. I didn't steal any runs. He storms off, and I don't hear anything all day Sunday. When I come in for my shift Monday, I get called into my boss's office. DH: OP, I'm being told that you aren't filling out your paperwork correctly, and one of the other drivers said that you were filling out carbon copies on top of each other. OP: You know my paperwork is always filled out fully, and we all layer our carbon copies and fill out the overlapping sections. It's quicker. DH: Well, that's not how we're supposed to do it. OP: Well, with the run I'm on, if I don't do it that way, I'll miss my delivery times and we won't get paid for the loads. You have me on a tight schedule, so I have to squeeze out every minute I can. The paperwork alone takes the better part of an hour to go through and fill out if I don't do it the improper way. DH: I don't care. If I catch you doing like that again, you'll be written up. If you say so. At this point, I had you people in mind. I figure at the very least, what I'm about to do now will make a good story. The rest of the week, I filled out each form separately, making sure to read every single word on each sheet. From Wednesday to Friday, it took me an average of an hour and a half to complete my paperwork. I still had my pre-trip inspection to do on the truck as well, which I made sure took the better part of an hour. I pulled 2 trailers called pups. I dropped one at one customer and another at the last before I return home with empty trailers. These customers pay extra for expedited service. This means if we're over an hour late, they don't pay. I think you guys can see where this is going. All that extra time filling out paperwork properly and being extra diligent on my pre-trips, along with writing up trucks for minor issues that added delay for repairs, means I was consistently 2 to 2.5 hours late. My customers would normally give me some extra time since they know me and they know how bad traffic can be at times. Since I was 2 to 2.5 hours late, my first customer, bless him, still wanted to pay for the load. I told him that per our contract, if I was over an hour late, he didn't have to pay. I also explained why I was late and told him that he didn't need to worry about payment as I'm paid per mile and by the hour for out-of-truck work, not by the load. Cut to today. My boss is PO'd. Each of my loads are million-dollar loads that pay through the teeth for expedited shipping. We're talking expensive electronic equipment on one trailer and machinery on the other. These loads pay an average of $15 to $20K for guaranteed delivery by noon the following day from an order. By today, the company has lost roughly $120,000. The best part is I cannot be held liable for the loss, as I was just doing my job as I was instructed to do. To no one's surprise, I was given a verbal warning which I refused to sign. I told my boss about the paperwork issue and about my pre-trip inspections. Both are required by DOT. My boss said he would see what he could do about making the paperwork easier to fill out, even though we all know the way I was doing it was the fastest, and that he would get on our dock workers about having my loads ready earlier to avoid this in the future. The dock issue is a story in and of itself. To all the bosses that punish your employees for finding a faster and more efficient way of doing things because it goes against the rules, try to figure out how to change the rules to help your employees be more efficient. And to any coworker who tries to screw with someone you work with, remember, in most cases, you still have to work with those people. I'll be keeping my eye on BD from now on out. One final note. The run I stole from the other driver was less than 200 miles to pick up an empty trailer from another customer. At 52 cents a mile, it was roughly $105 before taxes. So it wasn't even a long run worth a lot of money. And our last story. Backstab me at work and harass me? That's a paddling. I was desperate for work, and I happened to walk into a store I shop at regularly and was okay acquaintances with the boss. He offered me a job and offered to train me up since he needed reliable people. In a month, I was his star employee, filling in for the ones who call in sick, fixing problems, working my butt off, and also smashing sales targets. With him saying, "I'll train you," since at that point he hadn't, besides how to put through a sale. Then one day he came up and mentioned I'd been making mistakes, and all the little ones were adding up. I said, "But you only gave me basic till training," and his response, "You should know by now." Then the shift cutting happened, and then I found out he started talking really horrible stuff to other employees behind my back. The assistant manager actually felt sorry for me, but I was constantly badgered. Like if I even looked away for a second, I'd have my assistant manager going, "Don't ignore that customer." 2 seconds prior, they were not even there. They literally just lined up, or as I said, "Hey, I'm doing this," first they would ignore what I said and say, "Yes, you need to do that first, not X." Treated like dirt. No other employees even wanted to talk to me. The plotting. So at first I stopped doing things that implicated me in wrongdoing, as I suspected I was being blamed for stuff I never did. I documented it thoroughly. Pictures, a diary, you name it. When my manager went on longer than normal breaks, I time clocked it on my phone and wrote it down. Then he effed up and wrote a mass text to everyone calling us names for effing up. I screen capped that immediately, as the next day he asked to delete that message as it was a prank. Bullcrap. He stood over me and watched me delete it. I also wrote this down. I tried to be friendly with my coworkers, but they barely said a word to me, but to shut up and keep working. My last shift there, I didn't know it was at the time, I was so over it. I was being super nice to people and gave them deals that I knew I could do, just to at least feel like a human and get some sort of enjoyment in work. This didn't go down well, as I got a talking to, with me ending the conversation with, "I don't really care anymore." In the process, I was looking for a new job, and a day before my performance review by the manager, I was offered a new job, starting immediately as of tomorrow. This was a blessing, and I sent a message to my manager that I won't be coming in as I quit. He never responded, but my ASM did and said, "Okay, you don't get any store discounts anymore. Not even a sorry to see you go." But where's the revenge? Oh, it came. I waited 4 months after I left. I let the dust settle. Then I got everything into order and sent a lovely, huge email to my regional manager. The thing is, they all forgot I was on very good terms with him, to the point he was sad that I left. I wrote down a few things saying I felt after all this time this needed to be aired out and that I was told I have a legitimate claim for workplace harassment, but I wanted to deal with you first. I had a huge response saying they would look into this right away. An apology that this happened. All I asked was to stay anonymous. I got a response 3 weeks later saying he was no longer representing the company as a way for me not to pursue legal action. After that response, I decided to buy something from that store. Apparently, my ex-manager did not see it coming. They dumped a head office employee in his store to watch him for a week and scrutinize everything he did, even if he coughed wrong. It was noted. Then they asked him to explain the mass text message of abuse, and they used all I sent him plus the head office report to fire him. In my country, you need a F-load of evidence to fire full-time contracts. The casuals are now being split up into other stores as well to kill the group. They still have no idea I did it. The ASM was shocked as he thinks someone in the store did it for personal gain or a promotion. I know it seems perfect, but with the regional, I've known him when he used to be a casual in that very store, and we got along great and kept in contact for years after he got promoted. I was lucky in that respect, as many people don't have higher connections like that. How do I end this? Well, I'm now in full-time employment. His Facebook feed is filled with complaints about no money. Karma, B. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.